There are moments in life when you feel something calling you. You can't explain it with logic. It's not loud, but it's deep. It's a voice that seems to come from within, yet it feels older than anything you've ever known. Some call it intuition. Others call it fate. But what if that quiet voice you sometimes hear is something far more ancient? What if it's a voice of a being who walked this earth long before history began? Someone who never truly left, but waited for the right moment to speak again. That voice is Thoth. In the ancient land of Kemet, what we now call Egypt, Thoth was known as the god of wisdom, the scribe of the gods, the keeper of knowledge and time. He didn't just write the laws of the universe. He understood them, not like a scientist in a lab, but like a master musician who doesn't need to read notes because he is the music. Thoth spoke in symbols, in vibrations, in patterns that go beyond language. He taught the ancient priests, guided the pharaohs, and walked the halls of temples that are now buried in the sands of time. But Thoth didn't die. He simply shifted. He knew that one day, when the world was ready, or rather, when the world was in danger, he would return in a different way, not in body, not in form, but in message. That message is coming to you now. You didn't find this video by accident. It wasn't some random click or coincidence. You were guided here, pulled by something inside you that's been asleep for a very long time. Thoth's message doesn't come to the loud or the proud. It comes to the ready. And if you're still watching, it means you are ready, even if you don't feel like it yet. You see, Thoth's wisdom isn't about memorizing old books or chanting in forgotten languages. His message is about waking up to a truth that's already inside you, the truth that you are more than a body, more than a name. You are a piece of the divine, cut from the same source that made stars, oceans, and galaxies. You are not small. You are not broken. You are sleeping. And Thoth's voice is the alarm. But why now? Why this moment? Because humanity is at a tipping point. Look around. People are more connected than ever through technology, yet they feel more alone. We can send rockets to space, but can't find peace on Earth. We scroll through endless images, but we've lost our ability to see. We have information, but no wisdom. We chase goals, but we've forgotten our soul. This isn't new to Thoth. He's seen civilizations rise and fall before. He watched Atlantis sink beneath the waves. He warned the people, but they didn't listen. They were too busy with power, pride, and pleasure. And now, the same cycle is repeating. We are back at the edge. But here's the difference. You have a choice. Thoth isn't speaking to governments or armies. He's speaking to the individual, to the soul, to you. Because true change never starts with a system. It starts with a single spark. And that spark is inside your heart. Many people wait for signs. They look to the sky, to dreams, to miracles. But Thoth says the real sign is this moment. This very second in which you feel the pull to remember something you can't quite name. It's not outside you. It's within you. And you don't need to believe in Egyptian gods or ancient myths to feel it. You just need to be open. Thoth's voice is soft because it's sacred. It won't shout. It will whisper. But once you hear it, you can't forget it. You might try to ignore it, distract yourself, go back to normal life, but the whisper will remain, like a rhythm in your soul that won't stop playing until you dance to it. So what is he saying? He's saying, wake up. Wake up from the sleep of forgetting. Wake up from the lie that you are powerless. Wake up from the story that tells you you're just a human, lost in a world that doesn't care. That story is a cage, but Thoth is holding the key. He's not offering religion. He's not demanding worship. What he offers is far more valuable. He's offering remembrance, a way to remember who you were before the world told you who you are supposed to be, a way to remember the part of you that knows how to heal, create, love, and rise. It begins by listening, not with your ears, but with your whole being. And if you're still here, if these words are reaching something in you that feels older than your own memories, then you've already started. Thoth chose this moment for a reason. He's waited through centuries of silence for the ones who would be able to hear him without fear. And you are one of them. This is not a coincidence. This is your invitation. This is the first step to awaken the God within you. Close your eyes for a moment. Try to feel the space behind your thoughts, the silence beneath the noise of daily life. In that space, Something ancient lives. Something sacred. Thoth calls it the divine spark. It is the part of you that is not touched by fear, time, or death. It is your real self. And yet, most people never touch it. Most people spend their entire lives chasing what the world tells them they need. Money, fame, beauty, comfort. While the one thing they truly are gets buried deeper and deeper. Thoth's message is clear. You have forgotten who you are. Long ago, humans walk with a different awareness. Thoth speaks of times when our ancestors didn't just look at stars. They spoke to them. They could move energy with intention, heal with vibration, and travel through dimensions using only their consciousness. These people didn't see themselves as broken or lost. They knew they were divine beings having a human experience. But then came the fall. Not a fall from heaven, but a fall into forgetfulness. A slow, quiet sleep that crept over the soul like a fog. Thoth says it didn't happen in one day. It happened over centuries. Little by little, people stopped listening to the inner voice. They gave up their connection to the cosmos in exchange for control. They traded wisdom for power. They turned sacred knowledge into secret knowledge, and then they locked it away. And the saddest part? We agreed to it. We began to believe that the world outside of us was more real than the one inside. We were taught that gods were somewhere up in the sky, not in our hearts. That miracles only happened long ago, and never to people like us. We became afraid of our own power, and in that fear we lost it. Thoth says you're not just a body made of skin and bones. You are energy vibrating in form. Your thoughts create waves. Your emotions carry frequencies. Your spirit, though unseen, is the most real thing about you. But over time, you forgot how to use it. You forgot how to listen to your intuition, how to connect to the invisible web that ties all life together. You forgot that your words are spells, that your dreams are portals, that your presence is sacred. This forgetting wasn't just personal. It was global. Thoth speaks of a time when humans and the divine were not separate. The temples were not just stone buildings. They were energy machines designed to help people remember. Rituals weren't superstition. They were science. The gods weren't outside forces to be worshipped. They were archetypes of your own inner power. When you look in the mirror now, what do you see? Just a face, a name, a body? Or do you see the flame behind the eyes? The one that has lived 1,000 lives before this one? You may not remember the details, but the feeling is still there. That feeling you've always had, that you were meant for something more. That you came here for a reason. That somewhere, somehow, you are powerful beyond belief. That feeling is not your imagination. That is your truth. And Thoth is here to help you reclaim it. He says a divine spark inside you has never left. It's only been covered, buried under years of doubt, fear, and false identity. You were told you're just a number, just a job title, just a product of society. But that's not who you are. You are the dreamer and the dream, the creator and the creation. You are the hidden temple, the lost scroll, the sacred text, all waiting to be opened. Thoth reminds us that awakening doesn't mean becoming something new. It means remembering something ancient. You don't need to go out and collect power. You only need to uncover what was always yours. The problem is not that you are unworthy. The problem is that you were taught to believe you are. That's why his message is so urgent. Not because you're running out of time, but because the world needs you awake. Now, the world needs your light, your gifts, your remembrance. When you sleep, the system wins. But when you wake up, everything changes, not just for you, but for those around you. So how do we lose this power? Thoth says it started the moment we began to live from the outside in, when we let media tell us how to feel, when we let fear guide our choices, when we forgot to sit in silence, to breathe deeply, to listen to the soft voice within. We began to chase what we already had, like beggars sitting on a treasure chest, not knowing we hold the key. You are not lost. You are not empty. You are simply unpracticed in remembering. But Thoth knows the way back. He says the first step is simple. Look inward, not just for answers, but for identity. Don't ask, who am I? Ask, what have I forgotten about who I am? Let that question sit with you. Don't rush the answer. It will rise in time, like a memory returning from the deep. Thoth also reminds us that the world will try to pull you back. It will say, "Don't be silly." It will laugh at spirituality. It will offer distractions, addictions, and noise. But every time you pause, every time you breathe with awareness, every time you trust your own intuition, you break the spell. You crack the shell. You get one step closer to awakening the God within you. This isn't about becoming something you're not. This is about stepping back into the truth of what you've always been. Your power was never lost. It was only forgotten. Are you ready to remember? Long before modern science and religion shaped the way we see the world, there were sacred texts that carried hidden truths. Truths not meant for many, but for the ready. Among them, one stands above the rest in mystery and power. The emerald tablets of Thoth, not made of paper, but of a strange green crystal-like substance. The emerald tablets are said to be indestructible. They are not just writings, they are living keys. According to legend, Thoth himself engraved them after the fall of Atlantis, carrying the secrets of divine awakening into Egypt, where he later became known as a god. These tablets don't speak to your mind alone, they speak to your soul. And if you're truly ready to listen, they can unlock the divine code hidden deep within you. But what is this God code? And why does it matter? The God code is not something outside of you. It's not a password to a secret club or a spell from a fantasy story. It's something far more real. It's the original blueprint of your being, the part of you that was made in perfect harmony with the universe. The God code is your inner light, your true essence, the divine architecture of your soul. It knows who you are. It remembers where you come from. It holds your power, your wisdom, and your purpose. And Thoth knew that one day people would forget. So he placed the keys inside the tablets, waiting for a time when humanity would be ready to remember again. Each tablet contains symbols, phrases, and teachings that seem like riddles on the surface, but they are more like activators. They don't give you direct instructions like a manual. Instead, they stir something inside you. They wake up ancient knowledge that already lives within you. That's why when you read a line from the tablets, you might feel a strange energy moving through your body. That's not coincidence. That's your God code responding. One of the most famous lines from the tablets says, "Man is in the process of becoming what he was." Think about that. You are becoming what you once were. Not less, but more. Not something new, but something ancient. Your true self is not ahead of you. It's behind the veil. And that veil begins to lift when you study these teachings with an open heart. But Thoth also gave a warning. The tablets are not toys. They are not for the curious, but for the serious. Because with great knowledge comes great responsibility. If you awaken the power within but use it for greed, control, or ego, you only fall further asleep. The God code is meant to lift you, not feed your illusions. That's why many have read the tablets, but only a few have understood them. Here's the secret. The tablets don't work through the eyes. They work through vibration. When you read them, don't just think. Feel. Let the words move through your body. Let them echo in your chest. Don't try to solve them like a puzzle. Let them open you like a door. For example, Thoth writes, "Light is life. For without the great light, nothing can exist." He's not talking about sunlight. He's talking about the inner light, the divine presence inside all beings. That light is your God code. And the more you align with it, the more alive you become. Not just physically, but spiritually. You begin to see differently, hear differently, understand reality in a deeper way. Another line says, "As above, so below. As within, so without." This is one of the most important teachings in all of existence. It means the outer world reflects your inner world. If your mind is full of fear, your life becomes chaotic. If your heart is filled with love, your path becomes clear. This is not just a nice idea. It's a law, a divine principle. And when you live by it, the God code within you starts to activate. But why did Thoth hide this knowledge in symbols? Because truth can't be forced. It must be discovered. The deeper truths of life cannot be taught. They must be remembered. And only when the student is ready does the meaning become clear. That's why Thoth didn't give simple answers. He gave clues. Clues that guide you back to yourself. So how do you begin to unlock the God code? The first step is to get still. Quiet the mind. Listen. The second step is to study. Not just the tablets themselves, but yourself. Your reactions, your thoughts, your dreams. Everything in your life is a message. Everything is pointing you inward. The third step is to trust. Trust that you are not here by mistake. Trust that you were drawn to this knowledge for a reason. Trust that the God code is already alive in you, waiting to be remembered. As you walk this path, the tablets become more than words. They become mirrors. They show you your light and your shadow. They reveal your wounds so you can heal them. They challenge your illusions so you can grow beyond them. This is not an easy journey, but it is the most important one you will ever take. Because once the God code is awakened, nothing is ever the same. You begin to walk with purpose. You start to see others as reflections of yourself. You let go of fear because you remember you are eternal. You stop looking outside for validation because the divine lives inside you. And here's the most beautiful part. When you awaken, you help others awaken too. Your light becomes a torch in the dark. Your voice becomes a key for someone else's locked door. This is how humanity rises, not through one savior, but through many lights remembering who they are. Those emerald tablets are not relics of the past. They are gifts of the present, and they are calling you to remember. There's a reason Thoth's voice is rising again now. It's not just to inspire or teach, it's to warn. For thousands of years, his wisdom remained hidden in stone, in symbols, in whispers passed down through secret schools. But now his message is growing louder because something is changing on a global scale. Humanity is standing on a thin edge, and Thoth's words echo with urgency. The time of sleep is over. The clock is ticking. You must awaken or be left behind. This is not fear-mongering. It's not about predicting the end of the world or pointing fingers. Thoth doesn't work in fear. He works in truth. And the truth is this: we are running out of time to remember who we are. The world around us is moving faster than ever. Technology is growing, but so is disconnection. We are advancing in machines, but falling in spirit. And that imbalance is creating a ripple that threatens to break the soul of humanity. Thoth warned of this long ago. In the Emerald Tablets, he spoke of the time when darkness would rise again and try to drown the world in ignorance. Not the kind of darkness that comes from night, but a spiritual blindness. A sleep so deep that people forget they have a soul. A kind of numbness that keeps us busy, distracted, and empty. Look around you now. Can't you feel it? The constant noise. The pressure to succeed, to prove, to buy, to perform. The loss of silence. The disconnection from nature. The way people are more connected by screens, yet lonelier than ever before. Thoth saw this coming. He called it the second fall. But unlike the first, this one isn't about ancient cities sinking into the sea. It's about souls sinking into forgetfulness. And the danger? This time, it might be permanent. You see, the universe works in cycles. There are windows of opportunity, moments when spiritual doors open, times when awakening becomes easier, when light flows freely, when higher truths become more accessible. But those windows don't stay open forever. They close, and once they close, it becomes much harder to return. Right now, we are in one of those windows, a rare time when energies are shifting. You may have felt it, sudden changes in your life, emotional waves that seem to come from nowhere, a pull to something deeper, even if you can't name it. That's the universe knocking. That's Thoth whispering. But here's the warning. If you ignore it too long, it will fade. Not because you're being punished, but because you've made your choice. Free will is a law even Thoth respects. You must choose to awaken. You must want to remember. No one can force you, not even the gods. And the world is full of ways to keep you asleep. Every day, you're offered illusions. Empty entertainment, endless scrolling, false narratives, fear-based news, mindless consumption. These things feed the lower self, the ego, and make it harder to hear the higher voice. Thoth calls this the veil of confusion, a layer of illusion that wraps around the soul and traps it in forgetfulness. He warns, he who does not awaken now will find himself in chains he cannot see. These are not chains of metal. They are chains of belief, of identity, of self-doubt. They're the invisible ropes that tie you to a life that feels safe, but hollow. A life where your soul whispers, but your mind never listens. And the longer you ignore the whisper, the harder it becomes to hear. But the warning is not meant to scare you. It is meant to ignite you. Thoth never gave warnings without also giving tools. He reminds us that darkness only has power where there is no light. And you, yes, you are a being of light. You are not powerless. You are not too late. The very fact that you are here, listening to this message, means a window is still open. The flame still burns. But it needs your breath to grow. So what can you do? First, become aware of your distractions. Ask yourself, what keeps me asleep? What do I turn to when I feel empty? Do those things nourish my spirit or numb it? Second, return to silence. Thoth says that the soul speaks in stillness. Meditation, nature, breath work, even moments of quiet reflection. These are sacred practices now, not luxuries, but necessities. Third, seek truth, not the truth that is fed to you, but the truth you feel deep inside. Trust your intuition. If something feels off in the world, it's because it is. You are not crazy for questioning. You are waking up. And finally, take action. Not grand gestures, but small, consistent steps. Read sacred texts. Speak to your higher self. Practice kindness. Share light. Every step matters. Every moment counts. Thoth also speaks of those who awaken and guide others. He calls them the builders of the new dawn. They are not perfect. They are not saints. They are people like you, ordinary on the outside, but extraordinary in purpose. They carry the fire. And when they light up the world. But the clock is ticking. You can feel it, can't you? That subtle pressure. That urgency in your chest. That growing sense that something big is coming. That's not anxiety. That's your soul trying to get your attention. That's Thoth knocking at the door of your memory, saying, you came here for more than this. Wake up. The time is now. The sleep was long. The darkness was deep. But none of it was stronger than the light within you. You are not running out of time because time is your enemy. You are running out of time because your destiny is waiting. Now that you've heard Thoth's voice, now that something inside you is stirred, what comes next? This is the moment many people get stuck. They feel the call, they recognize the truth, but they don't know where to begin. The journey back to your divine self can seem confusing. You're told to meditate, to read ancient texts, to change your thoughts, but it still feels far away. That's because the world has taught you to expect fast results. But Thoth teaches something different. He reminds us the road to godhood is walked, not jumped. And so let's walk it step by step. The first step is the most powerful and yet the most ignored. Know thyself. It sounds simple, maybe even cliche, but it is the foundation of all awakening. You must turn your gaze inward. You must begin to look at your thoughts, your patterns, your beliefs, not to judge them, but to observe them. Who told you what you believe about yourself? Who shaped your idea of what is possible? Who decided your limits? Thoth says that most people live like program machines. They repeat the same emotions, the same reactions, the same fears, day after day, believing that's just who they are. But that's not the truth. That's conditioning. That's the fog of forgetfulness. To awaken the God within, you must unlearn what is not yours. Try this. For one day, become the watcher. Don't act, observe. Watch your thoughts as if they were clouds passing in the sky. See how many are negative, repetitive, or base in fear. See how quickly you react without thinking. And then ask, who is the one watching all of this? That watcher, that silent awareness, is your divine self. That is the part of you that is eternal. Once you recognize that inner observer, the second step becomes clear. Reclaim your power. This is not about control. It's not about forcing life to go your way. It's about realizing that you are not a victim of this world. You are a co-creator. Every thought you send out is a signal. Every emotion is a frequency. Every belief is a building block. The world around you responds to the world within you. Thoth calls this the law of vibration. He says, to change the outer, one must master the inner. So how do you start? You begin by taking responsibility, not blame, but ownership. You stop waiting for the world to fix you, and you begin fixing your inner world. If your life feels empty, you ask, where am I disconnected? If you feel lost, you ask, where have I abandoned myself? These are not punishments. They are invitations. Each struggle is a message. Each pain is a teacher. And then comes a third step, silence and presence. In a world that screams for attention, silence is rebellion. Thoth says of God don't shout, they whisper. And you can only hear them when your mind is still. This is why every sacred tradition teaches meditation, stillness, or prayer. Not because it's religious, but because it's necessary. Find time each day to be still. Just 5 or 10 minutes. Sit, breathe, listen. Not for answers, not to fix anything. Just to remember that you are not your thoughts. In that space between thoughts, something powerful begins to rise. It is your presence, your divine essence. That is where the God within begins to speak. And in that silence, you will begin to receive something unexpected. Guidance. This is a 4th step. As you quiet the mind and open the heart, you will begin to notice signs, strange coincidences, repeating numbers, dreams with meaning, random insights that feel ancient. These are not imagination. These are messages from your higher self, from your spirit guides, from Thoth himself. Many people expect awakening to be like a bolt of lightning, but more often it is like a sunrise, slow, gentle, undeniable. You begin to feel different. Things that once made you angry now bring clarity. People who once drained you no longer affect you. You begin to choose peace over drama, truth over comfort, light over fear. And then comes a 5th step, alignment. Thoth teaches that once you begin awakening, your life must reflect it. This doesn't mean becoming perfect. It means living in integrity. If you know your truth, live it. If something feels wrong in your soul, don't do it. If something lights you up, follow it. Alignment is about harmony between your words, your actions, your values, and your energy. This is where the God within begins to move through you, not as an idea, but as a presence. People around you feel it, even if they don't understand it. Animals are drawn to you. Children trust you. Strangers open up to you because your energy is becoming purer. And finally, the 6th step, service. Thoth says the final sign of true awakening is when you begin to serve, not from duty, but from joy, not to save others, but because your light can't help but shine. You speak truth, not to preach, but to inspire. You help others not to feel important, but because your heart overflows. You become a lighthouse. And in a world full of storms, people will find you. But none of this happens all at once. There are days you'll feel lost again. Days you'll fall back into old patterns. That's okay. Awakening is not a straight line. It's a spiral. Each time you fall, you rise with more wisdom. Thoth doesn't ask for perfection. He asks for intention. So let this be your practice. Every morning, ask, how can I live for my highest self today? Every night, reflect. Where did I forget? Where did I remember? This is how the God within wakes up. Not through pressure, but through presence. Not through noise, but through remembering. And the more you remember, the more the world around you begins to shift. Because awakening is not just a personal journey. It is a gift you give to the whole of creation. The God within you is not sleeping. He is waiting. By now you felt it, the pull inside you, the quiet certainty that this message wasn't just another video, another story, or another idea floating on the internet. It was meant for you. And the deeper truth, perhaps the most important truth of all, is this: you were never just listening to Thoth's message. You were remembering your own. You see, this message didn't come to you by accident. The algorithms, the search, the moment of curiosity that brought you here, those were just the outer movements. What truly brought you here was your soul, a part of you that exists beyond space and time, a part that has been sleeping for lifetimes, waiting for the right spark, the right voice, the right vibration to say, it's time. And now you're awake. But there's something even deeper that Thoth wants you to know, something he saved for last. because only the ready can hear it. You are not just a seeker of the divine. You are part of the divine plan itself. You didn't come into this life to watch from the sidelines. You came here to participate in one of the most important moments in human history, the Great Remembering. Right now, millions of souls all over the world are waking up, some slowly, some all at once. They're beginning to feel things they can't explain. They're being drawn to ancient texts, sacred symbols, and forgotten wisdom. They are you, and together, you are forming a kind of silent army, not of war, but of light. Thoth knew this time would come. He saw it thousands of years ago when Atlantis fell, and the spiritual fire of mankind began to flicker. But he also saw a future, a flickering moment in the timeline where those with ancient souls would return. Souls who had once walked the temples, who had once studied the tablets, who had once spoken with stars. You are one of those souls. And the reason this message resonates so deeply is because you wrote it too long ago, in another time, in another form. You made a promise that if you ever forgot who you were and the world fell asleep, you would come back. You would wake up. You would shine. This is that moment. You are not a random person watching a spiritual video. You are a being of immense power, wrapped in human skin, who chose to forget, so you could remember and then help others do the same. The pain you felt in this life, the confusion, the longing, all of it was part of your preparation. You were being shaped, not broken. You were being refined, not lost. Thoth's message was never outside you. It has always been within you, waiting to echo off the walls of your consciousness, waiting to shake loose the dust of your forgotten greatness, waiting for you to say yes. And if you're still here reading these words, it means you have said yes. The truth is, there's nothing left to wait for. The awakening has already begun. The door has already opened. You've already stepped onto the path. Now, your only task is to keep going. Keep listening. Keep practicing. Keep trusting that the part of you that was drawn here is the truest part of who you are. Let the world be loud. Let the noise try to pull you back. Let the old self try to take control again. That will happen. But now you know. Now you've seen through the illusion. And once you've seen it, you can never fully go back to sleep. Thoth calls this stage the sacred remembering. It's when you begin to live from a different place. Not from fear, but from alignment. Not from reaction, but from presence. Not from survival, but from truth. You will still face challenges. That's part of this human journey. But you'll face them differently. You'll begin to see even the hard moments as part of your evolution. You'll meet life not as a victim, but as a co-creator. You'll realize that the God within you doesn't erase your humanity. It elevates it. And perhaps most importantly, you'll begin to see others differently. Not as enemies, not as competitors, but as reflections. Even those who sleep, even those who hurt you. You'll begin to feel compassion because you'll recognize that they, too, are on the path, even if they don't know it yet. This is the highest form of awakening. Not just realizing your own divinity, but helping others see theirs. And so now, Thoth's final question is this. What will you do with what you've remembered? This is not just information. This is initiation. You've crossed a threshold. The old version of you, the one who doubted, feared, and forgot, is no longer in control. The God within you has taken its first breath again. And now, it's up to you to live from that place. You don't need to wear robes. You don't need to chant in temples. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be real. Be real with your soul. Be honest about your light. And start walking as if you remember who you are, because you do. Thoth is not asking you to worship him. He is reminding you to become like him. A bridge between the seen and unseen. A voice for truth. A holder of light. A keeper of sacred wisdom in a world that has forgotten how to feel. You are not here to blend in. You are here to shine. So walk now, not as the person you were yesterday, but as the being you truly are. Walk with quiet power, with deep presence, with soft strength. Let every step be a prayer. Let every breath be a signal to the universe. I remember, because you do. You were never lost. You were just waiting for this message. And now that it has reached you, there is only one thing left to do. Awaken the God within and rise.